Inspiring revelation, millionaire hides his wealth to seek child's mother, touching the hearts of Nashville. Jack Evans was a name synonymous with success. In the cozy suburbs of Nashville, a sleek mansion stood testament to his self-made fortune. But behind his polished exterior lay a hollow man, torn by the loss of Sarah, the love of his life, and a rift with their teenage daughter, Lily. Each moment of silence reminded him of the laughter that once filled their home, now replaced by the weight of guilt. When he received a distressing call about Sarah's struggles, the fragile world he had created felt like a haunting dream. Jack's heart raced as guilt consumed him. Could it be that he had abandoned not only Sarah but Lily as well? Determined to reclaim the family he had lost, Jack made a radical decision. He tossed aside his opulent lifestyle. He hid his wealth, slipped into a modest apartment, and accepted a job at a local diner. The familiar clatter of dishes and warm smiles from the locals felt foreign yet comforting. Jack served pancakes and coffee, listening intently to every story shared at the counter. Laughter bubbled up from the regulars as Jack learned how a tight-knit community rallied together in times of need. It was a world where struggles wove the fabric of life, and Jack felt the pulse of it for the first time. Each day, the diner became a sanctuary to Jack, a retreat full of hope and resilience. He built rapport with the customers, sharing anecdotes over sizzling bacon and warm biscuits. Yet, the conversations exposed a deeper reality, one contrasting sharply with his previous life. He felt the sharpness of judgment from some. A passionate community leader, in particular, saw him as a symbol of social inequality. Heated discussions ensued, and Jack, caught in the whirlwind of conflicting sentiments, began to question his own identity. Amidst the chaos, he ventured back into Lily's life. A pizza dinner was their first small step. The way she hesitated before laughing at his corny jokes tugged at his heart. Jack cherished every moment, their connection slowly blossoming amidst shared dreams and community work. But misunderstandings crept in as Lily sensed something was off. Jack had been careful, but one day, she discovered a hidden detail in an old magazine that led to confrontation. "Why didn't you tell me who you really are?" Her voice cracked as the hurt poured out. Jack's heart sank. In a heated argument, overwhelmed by emotion, he revealed his millionaire status. The air felt thick with tension, and for a fleeting moment, everything shattered. The diner froze, customers gaping in stunned silence as the truth ripped through the fragile bond he had been nurturing. Jack watched Lily's expression morph from anger to betrayal. He realized he might have lost her all over again, just as he had lost Sarah. The whispers of the onlookers rippled through the atmosphere, a collective gasp followed by hushed comments. Jack stood in that moment, heart racing, desperate for a connection he felt slipping through his fingers. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As Jack stood among the echoes of heartbreak and judgment, hope flickered like a candle in a storm. Would he be able to mend the fractured bond with Lily? Could he show her that real love transcends wealth? The diner held its breath, and in the depths of his soul, Jack clung to the hope of redemption, the possibility of one last chance to make everything right. Jack's heart thudded in his chest as he tried to gauge the room. The diners had exchanged pitying looks, murmurs of disbelief floating in the air like clouds of smoke. He turned back to Lily, her eyes wide and glazed with hurt. Every second felt like a lifetime as he stood frozen, aching to reach out but unsure how. "Lily," he breathed, stepping forward. But she recoiled, the space between them heavy with unspoken words. "Please hear me out." "No." Her voice rang out, fierce and unyielding. "You hid this from me. How could you think I wouldn't find out? You don't trust me." Jack swallowed hard. He had wanted to protect her, spare her the burden of his past. "I didn't want you to see me as just a rich guy," he explained, voice shaky. "When I came here, I came as a different man. I wanted to show you I could change. To be someone real." "Real?" She scoffed, the anger clashing with the rush of tears in her eyes. "You think pretending to be someone else is being real?" Her words stung more than any physical pain. Jack felt the ache of regret pooling in the pit of his stomach. He caught a glimpse of himself in the diner's chrome fixtures, a stranger staring back, someone who had lost sight of what's truly important. "I didn't want to lose you again, Lily," he finally admitted, the vulnerability weighing him down. "I thought if I could just come to you as someone else, you'd give me a chance." Lily shook her head, a mix of frustration and sorrow on her face. "It's too late for that," she whispered. The disappointment in her eyes shattered his heart into pieces, but Jack couldn't give up, not when they were so close to mending their bond. "I want to be here for you," he said, his voice steadying with determination. "Let me prove to you that I'm more than my past, more than money. We can start over, together." With a shaky breath, he took a step back, willing to let her take the lead. The noise in the diner faded to a mere hum as Jack focused on Lily. He noticed how her fingers fidgeted with the edge of the table, her brow furrowed in thought. The silence between them grew, heavy like a blanket. He could see her processing the whirlwind of emotions within her: anger, betrayal, yet perhaps a flicker of longing for the father she once knew. "I don't know if I can trust you," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. Each word felt like a wall rebuilding between them. "I can't ask you to trust me," Jack replied, "but I'm here. Wherever you lead, I'll follow. Just give me a chance to show you the truth." Lily's eyes softened, caught between the hurt and the remnants of their shared past. The tension in the diner remained taut, as if the world outside had come to a standstill. Jack felt the pull of hope, yet fear of rejection held him at bay. "I need time," she said slowly, her voice fragile yet resolute. "You can't just walk back in after so long and expect everything to be okay." "I know," he murmured, relief flooding him. "And I'll wait for you whatever it takes." As she nodded slowly, the atmosphere in the diner began to shift. Murmurs erupted from the patrons, some nodding in approval, while others stayed rooted in judgment. Yet to Jack, their eyes didn't matter. What mattered was the small crack of light breaking through the darkness of their rift. While he took a step back, knowing he had to respect her space, his thoughts spiraled. What if she did begin to trust him? What if he could follow through on his promise? And what about Sarah? As Jack's mind raced, he couldn't help but wonder if he could also repair the old scars. His gaze met Lily's once more, and in that moment, he realized that this was only the first step. As they began to navigate the rocky path ahead, one question loomed: would the truth of his past come back to haunt him, or would it serve as the bridge they needed to heal together? Jack stood rooted to the spot as Lily's words echoed in his ears. While the din of the diner buzzed around them, it was as if they existed in their own pocket of silence, a fragile world tumbling at the edges of uncertainty. "I don't know what to say, Jack," she finally breathed, her voice trembling. The flicker of vulnerability in her eyes both frightened and reassured him. For a moment, he thought he caught a glimpse of the little girl who once giggled and chased butterflies, the girl he had hoped to reconnect with. "Just tell me what you feel." His heart raced. "I'll do anything." Lily wiped at her tears, drawing in a deep breath. "It hurts to think you would hide this from me. I don't understand why you thought that was a good idea." His voice fell like a rock. I thought it would protect you. I wanted you to see me without the shadow of who I am, without the money. I wanted you to love me for me." "But you're not just you," she challenged, advancing into that space he had carefully carved. "You can't erase your past. You can't erase what you are to me, what you are to everyone." Around them, whispers rose and fell like waves, and the scrutiny of their fellow diners felt like a heavy coat draped over Jack's shoulders. Yet in that moment, all he could focus on was Lily. The connection they had, once vibrant and full of life, had somehow dimmed, but he longed to make it bright again. "I want an honest chance to show you how I've changed," he insisted, desperation edging his tone. "Give me something to fight for, Lily. I don't want to go back to pretending." The seconds ticked away, and he could see her mind racing. Jack held on to hope like a lifeline, imagining her heart warming to the thought of a father truly present, willing to put in the work. "Maybe you can start by being honest with me now," Lily urged, her voice softening, the anger giving way to curiosity. "Tell me everything about your past. Who you were, who you are." Jack's breath caught. "You need to know the truth." "Yes," she replied firmly. "I deserve to know." He nodded slowly, knowing this was the moment of reckoning. Jack felt the weight of his choices, all the things he had buried deep. "All right, but it's not easy for me to talk about." "Then don't rush. Just share what you can," she encouraged, her expression shifting toward empathy. Jack took a deep breath, steeling himself. "I wasn't always the man you see today. I grew up in a different world, money and power, sure, but there was an emptiness too. I lost sight of what really mattered when I got lost in that life. I hurt people, damaged relationships, even pushed you away." Lily listened, her brow furrowing in thought. "And how did that make you feel?" "Like I was drowning," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I thought I could fix it all by walking away, that leaving behind my wealth would somehow make everything all right. But it didn't." Silence enveloped them as Lily absorbed his words. The clatter of dishes faded into something background, and Jack could feel some of the tension uncoil between them. "I still don't fully know if I can trust you," she finally said. "But I want to try. I want to understand you better." Something hopeful surged in Jack's chest. "Thank you, Lily. That's all I can ask for. I promise to be open with you from now on. No more hiding." As they looked at each other, a tentative truce formed. Jack felt the weight of their past start to lift. Perhaps this could be the start of rebuilding their lives, brick by brick, but even as hope flourished, the question loomed larger than ever: would his history ultimately bind them together, or would it become the very thing that tore them apart again? The light from the diner's neon sign spilled through the window, casting a warm glow on their faces. Jack could see the conflict shifting in Lily's eyes. It was as if she stood at the edge of a precipice, poised to either leap forward or retreat back into safety. "Let us not rush this," she finally said, her voice steadier now. "There's so much to uncover. What happened after you left? Did you just cut ties with everything?" Jack could feel a tight knot in his stomach as he recalled the days after he walked away from his life. "Not exactly. I thought it would be simple. I moved somewhere quiet, tried to start over. For a while, I even thought I could disguise my past entirely." He chuckled bitterly. "But you can't just wipe the slate clean. You know?" Lily nodded, her brows knitted tight as she studied his expression. "What did you do? Did you find work?" "I tried," he said, swallowing hard. "I mean, I was used to being handed opportunities on silver platters. Suddenly, I was just another guy trying to make a living. I took jobs that made me feel less than. I worked at a bar, waited tables. It was humiliating, but I wanted to feel grounded, to connect with people outside my old life." "How did that feel?" she pressed, her tone softening as she leaned in. Jack closed his eyes for a moment, the memories surfacing like a rush of water. "At first, it felt liberating to be just another face in the crowd. But then I missed being someone important. I missed having your mom, having you." His voice cracked slightly, and he took a shaky breath. "I was living with this constant ache, knowing I had left you all behind." A flicker of understanding passed across Lily's face, and that little girl he knew from years ago seemed to peek through the cracks. Did you ever try to find us? The question hung in the air, fragile and heavy. Jack's heart sank. I thought about it every single day. But there was guilt too. I figured it would only bring more pain. I didn't want to disrupt your life. Disrupt? Sometimes finding the people we love is the only way to heal, she replied, her voice firm yet tinged with sadness. Jack marveled at her strength, and a mix of pride and remorse flooded him. I wanted to be better for you, Lily. I wanted to give you space, to grow up without the weight of who I was. But it only made the hurt deeper. Lily reached out to take his hand. The connection felt electric, a palpable bridge spanning their chasm of misunderstanding. Maybe it's not too late for that, she whispered, hope threaded through her words. But you have to promise me, no more hiding. Only truth moving forward. Tears stung his eyes, mingling relief with regret. I promise. I want to be the father you deserve. Just then, the door swung open, a gust of chilly wind cutting through their bubble. A familiar figure stepped inside, scanning the room. Jack's heart dropped as he recognized the unmistakable silhouette. His brother. What is he doing here? His voice betrayed a swell of anxiety as Lily's grip on his hand tightened reflexively. Jack wanted nothing more than for this moment to be theirs alone. Do you need to talk to him? She asked softly, concern lining her features. The weight in Jack's chest felt heavier. While he longed to keep this newfound connection with Lily, he couldn't ignore the reality of his past rushing back to him. What had his brother come to tell him? Jack turned to Lily, their eyes locking in silent understanding. She had opened up her heart to him. It was time for him to confront the past once and for all. Maybe this is a chance to face it all, he said, standing up. Together. As they prepared for the confrontation, a new question loomed in the air. Would this shocking reunion help dismantle the walls between them, or would it ruin everything they had just begun to rebuild? Jack's heart raced as he took a step towards his brother, his body tense. He hadn't seen Kyle in years, and the flood of emotions that rushed over him felt overwhelming. The diner buzzed with conversations and clinking silverware, but his world shrank to the two of them standing on the edge of a precipice. Kyle's eyes widened upon spotting Jack, a mix of surprise and concern flaring. He hesitated for a moment, the air thick with the weight of unsaid words between them. Then, with a deep breath, he closed the distance. Jack, Kyle said, his voice low but steady. I didn't expect to find you here. Jack glanced back at Lily, grounding himself in her reassuring presence, then faced his brother squarely. What are you doing here, Kyle? After all this time? Kyle's brow furrowed, but instead of answering right away, he shifted his gaze from Jack to Lily. Recognition flashed in his eyes. Is this? Yes, Jack answered quickly, a fierce protectiveness surging within him. This is Lily. My daughter. The word daughter hung in the air, heavy with unspoken implications. Kyle looked between the two, an emotional current pulling at his features. Wow. I didn't realize. Is she okay? His sudden concern tugged at Jack, and for a moment, he saw the brother he once knew, the one who cared deeply about family. But that thought came with a sharp ache, reminding him of the distance that had formed over the years. Lily's fine. We're trying to piece things together, he replied, keeping his tone neutral. Kyle nodded, taking a tentative step closer. I've been worried about you. Mom and Dad have been trying to reach out. I tried reaching you too, but I didn't want to be found. Jack's voice came out harsher than intended. Lily squeezed his hand, silently urging him to breathe, to stay calm. So you came here for what? To tell me I should come back home? You've got to know it's not that simple. I came to find you, Jack. I needed to talk, Kyle implored, his voice cracking slightly. There's a lot you don't know. And we don't have to fight about the past. Jack studied his brother's face. The sincerity there was unmistakable, but so was the fear of losing family, fear of rehashing old wounds. Talk about what? Everything, Kyle replied fervently. We've been in a mess since you left. Not just the family, but everything. You have to understand how it's affected us. Mom thinks it's her fault. No, Jack interrupted, feeling bile rise as he considered the turmoil his absence had caused. Don't put that on her. I was the one who chose to walk away. Exactly. Kyle's voice broke now, raw and pained. And you can fix it. We can fix it together. But you need to come back. You can't keep running. The heat of conflict flared between them, igniting that ache Jack carried deep in his chest. Could Kyle really think going back was the solution? But as Jack looked at Lily, her eyes brimming with emotion, he felt a pull towards something he had long denied: a chance at healing, a chance to reclaim lost time. I don't know if I can, Jack admitted, the weight of uncertainty heavy on his shoulders. Let us help you, Kyle urged softly. If you're really sorry, maybe it's time to confront it all. Together. Jack glanced back at Lily, her hopeful gaze giving him strength. He took another shaky breath, realizing that perhaps running had never truly been the answer. But even as he nodded, a part of him hesitated. What if this reunion unraveled even more secrets? What if confronting the past shattered his fragile connection with Lily? Can we talk later? Jack finally proposed, needing to process every word. Right now, I'm just overwhelmed. Of course, Kyle said, relief and concern intertwining on his face. I'm here for you, brother. They stood there, the weight of family ties straining against years of silence. As Jack met Lily's gaze, he saw the unspoken question in her eyes: was he ready to embrace the past, or would it tear them apart once more? With unresolved tension hanging in the air, Jack couldn't shake the sense that they were standing on the brink of a decision that could change everything. Jack felt the ground beneath him shift, as if the universe was realigning, pushing him closer to a truth he had been avoiding. A truth that threatened to crack the shell he'd built around himself. Taking another steadying breath, he squeezed Lily's hand, her tiny fingers grounding him in the present. Let us find a booth, Jack said, motioning to the diner's far corner. He needed a private space to navigate this conversation. With a nod from Kyle, they walked over, their footsteps echoing softly in the chatter of patrons around them. Settled in the booth, Jack felt the familiar weight of his past pressing upon his chest. Kyle slid in across from him, the gap between them bridged by more than just the wooden table. Jack glanced at Lily. She was drawing circles on the paper napkin, blissfully unaware of the storm swirling around them. Listen, Jack started, searching for the right words. What happened was my choice. Running away was easier than facing the truth. But it affected all of us, especially you and Mom. Kyle's eyes shimmered with a mix of hope and hurt. We've changed, Jack. Dad's not the same anymore. He doesn't talk much, and Mom, she tries to act like everything's fine, but you can see it in her eyes. We need you back, but it's not just about us. It could be about you too. Jack's heart ached at the thought of his mother, burdened by guilt. He hadn't considered the toll his absence had taken on her. I thought I was doing the right thing, he murmured, more to himself than to Kyle. Sometimes the right thing feels wrong, Kyle replied, his voice calm and steady. But healing comes when we confront what's broken. A silence settled over them, punctuated only by the sound of silverware clinking nearby. Jack could feel the weight of Kyle's gaze, filled with an urgency he never thought he'd encounter again. Could he bear the burden of their family's turmoil? What if I can't fix this? What if going back just makes everything worse? Jack's voice wavered, the uncertainty gnawing at him like a bitter memory. Then we'll face it together, Kyle asserted, a flicker of determination lighting his eyes. You don't have to be alone in this. None of us do. We've spent years apart, and it's time to change that. Jack hesitated but saw the fierce conviction in Kyle's expression. Memories from their childhood flooded back, shared laughter, adventures, and those quiet, comforting moments that had once bonded them so tightly. Family means facing the past, right? Jack said softly, surprising himself. He hadn't expected that clarity to come so naturally. Exactly, Kyle urged, leaning forward. And it starts with you being present, not just physically, but emotionally. Mom wants to see you, and so do I. We need to talk about everything, the good and the bad. No more hiding. Jack felt Lily's hand in his tighten. He turned to her, seeing her trusting gaze, and in that moment, he knew he had to at least try. I'll think about it, he said slowly. But I can't promise everything will just be all right. Kyle nodded, visibly relieved. Just taking the step to think about it is a start. As they wrapped up their conversation, a flicker of connection ignited between the brothers, a slight thaw of the ice that had grown so thick over the years. You'll let me know? Kyle prodded gently. Yeah, I will, Jack replied, uncertainty still flickering within him but now intertwined with a glimmer of hope. He knew the path ahead was fraught with challenges, but the prospect of reclaiming lost moments with his family felt intoxicating. As they left the diner, the streets outside buzzed with life, echoing the quiet shift within Jack. Yet, in the back of his mind lingered one crushing thought: could he truly confront the ghosts of his past without losing the new life he was trying to build for Lily? Jack's heart pounded as they walked, pushing through the bustling crowd. Was he ready to take that step? And as Kyle's hand landed softly on his shoulder, a simple gesture of reassurance, he couldn't ignore the rising tide of anxiety mixed with determination. The next move would define everything. The moment they stepped outside the diner, Jack felt the weight of the world pressing against him. The buzz of the city enveloped him, but it was nothing compared to the whirlwind of emotions inside his chest. He glanced at Kyle, whose face was a mixture of hope and concern. Let us go for a walk, Kyle suggested, nudging his head toward a nearby park. Jack nodded, grateful for the chance to put some distance between them and the diner, where their conversation felt too raw, too exposed. As they walked, Jack could hear the laughter of kids playing nearby, a stark contrast to the turbulence in his own heart. Lily skipped ahead, her small figure darting between patches of sunlight breaking through the trees. She turned, a bright smile lighting up her face when she caught Jack's eye. He felt a pang in his chest. Her innocence was something he desperately wanted to shield. Was the path back to his family one that would ultimately harm her? Do you remember how we used to come here as kids? Kyle asked, breaking the silence. We'd climb the swings like they were mountains. Jack let a smile break through, recalling their wild adventures, the laughter that seemed to echo in the very air they breathed. Yeah, we couldn't get enough of those swings until Mom made us come home for dinner. But we always snuck back out after, Kyle grinned. The shared memories felt like a lifeline, tugging Jack back towards his brother, his past, and the idea of healing. Do you think she'd really want me back? Jack asked, his voice quiet. After all this time, all that has happened? Kyle met his gaze, his expression serious. She loves you, man. It's been hard without you. For all of us. I can see it in her eyes. The honesty behind Kyle's words pierced Jack's carefully crafted defenses. He imagined his mother's face, pale and worn, burdened by sorrow. Guilt washed over him like a wave. Had he thought only of himself these last few years? Had he underestimated the impact of his absence? As they approached a clearing in the park, Lily ran ahead to a patch of flowers, kneeling to inspect them closely. Her wide-eyed wonder kindled something in Jack, a flicker of hope mixed with fear. Could he give her a chance at a fuller family life while he still wrestled with his own issues? Jack, Kyle said, breaking through his thoughts, things can change. You know that, right? Nothing is set in stone. Come back, talk to Mom, and just be honest. Jack hesitated, overwhelmed by the distance he had traveled to build a life for Lily. Was he willing to risk everything confronting an uncertain future with his family? The faces of his mother and father swirled in his mind, their disappointment mingling with the remnants of love. He took a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill his lungs. What if they can't forgive me for everything? Forgiveness is a journey, not a destination, Kyle replied with a shrug. You just have to start that journey. One step at a time. Again, Jack was struck by Kyle's maturity, the way he talked about their family like it still mattered. The thought of trying, of giving it another shot, nestled a sense of possibility within him. Lily called out, her voice ringing through the park. Daddy! Look at the butterflies. Jack turned, seeing her laughter dance with the sunlight. He felt a smile creeping onto his face. Didn't he want to shatter her world? Could he find a way to mend his own pieces while still being the father she deserved? Okay, let us do this, Jack said finally, the weight lifting just enough for him to breathe a little easier. Kyle grinned widely, and Jack felt the tiniest bit of hope spark into life. As they walked toward Lily, a new chapter loomed ahead, filled with uncertainty but bursting with potential. Standing before the bright possibilities of the future, Jack felt the paralyzing fear seep back in. Could he truly confront the fractures in his heart without tearing the family apart once again? The answer hung heavy in the air, and as the butterflies fluttered around Lily in a carousel of colors, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that the transformation would be more daunting than he expected. Jack took a deep breath as he watched Lily chase after the butterflies, her laughter twinkling like the sunlight filtering through the trees. The innocence in her eyes moved something deep within him. What if he failed her? The thought gnawed at his stomach, twisting it in knots. Keep working on that smile, Kyle said, nudging him. You'll need it when you go home. Right, Jack replied, managing a laugh that didn't reach his eyes. He wished he could believe it was that simple. They dropped onto a bench, and Kyle leaned forward. You've taken the first step. Just talking about it, that's huge. It means you're ready to think about coming back. Jack watched Lily as she clutched a butterfly in her tiny hands, her joy radiating through the air. What if he somehow crushed her happiness? Would returning feel like an invasion instead of a reunion? The park around him blurred. He felt lost, an island in a shifting sea of memories. Do you think Mom will understand? Jack finally asked, his voice barely a whisper. I mean, really understand why I left? If you're honest with her, she will, Kyle assured him. Mom's been holding on to hope, Jack. She still believes in you. It's the inconsistency that hurts her. You disappeared without a word like you didn't care. With Kyle's words echoing in his mind, Jack's throat tightened. What if she didn't want to see him? What if she had moved on? These fears danced tauntingly around him. Look, Kyle continued as he shifted in his seat, it might be scary, but trust me, going back can feel like coming home. That place is still yours. Just think through what you want to say. And promise me, you won't overthink. Just be present, okay? Taking a moment, Jack nodded slowly, feeling the weight of his brother's gaze. There was a comfort in knowing that someone had kept the door open. Lily came racing back, her cheeks flushed with excitement. She plopped down next to Jack. Daddy! Did you see it? It landed right here. She opened her hands, revealing nothing but empty air. That's amazing, Lily, Jack said, trying to mirror her enthusiasm, but doubt still wrapped around his heart like a slithering vine. I'll catch another. You just wait. She sprang up once more, darting back into the greenery as if she were chasing dreams made real. She's got a fire in her, just like you, Kyle remarked, a proud smile curving across his face. Jack felt a swell of emotions watching them. This little girl was everything. She had given him something to aspire to be worthy of her brilliance. It struck him like a bolt of lightning. He wanted to create a future for her, one free from the shadows of his past. What if I go back and it's all too much? What if I can't, I don't know, handle it? Jack murmured, staring at the ground. Then take it slow, Kyle replied, his tone calm. You don't have to pull the past apart in one conversation. It's about the journey, not the destination. Start by just being there again. Something shifted within Jack. Could it be that simple? Healing wasn't just about confronting the wounds, it was also about learning to let time work its magic. When he glanced over at Lily, watching the butterflies flit around her like tiny gifts from the sky, he felt a flicker of courage ignite. Maybe that spark could grow, guiding him back to his family, piece by piece. In that moment, Jack made a silent vow to take the leap, to confront not just his family, but all the fears he had buried deep within. He started to picture it, a slow conversation, a building trust and hope that at the end of that road lay the forgiveness he desperately sought, but deep within, an unsettling notion lingered. What if, in pursuing this reconciliation with his family, he uncovered deeper issues that he had avoided for too long? As if sensing his turmoil, Lily ran back, a wobbly, triumphant grin on her face. "Daddy! Look! I made a friend!" she squealed. Jack caught sight of something unexpected, a small, fluttering butterfly, perched on the tip of her finger. With her face glowing, she looked up at him, her innocence a beacon of hope. "See? Nothing is impossible," she exclaimed, but as he gazed at that delicate butterfly resting on his daughter's hand, he felt the weight of that notion settle heavy within him. Was he truly ready to confront everything that lay ahead? The beauty of hope danced in the light, mingled with the uncertainty that churned in his heart, leaving him grappling with the bigger question: was he ready to face the bittersweet truth of his past and, more importantly, find out what lying beneath it could reveal? Jack stared at the tiny butterfly as it fluttered away from Lily's finger, disappearing into the bright blue sky. It felt like a metaphor, a representation of everything he feared losing. In that moment, his heart ached with the realization that all he wanted was to fly back into their lives, but he worried he'd only be a fleeting shadow. Lily clapped her hands in excitement. "Did you see it, Daddy? It was beautiful." "Yeah, it really was," he replied, forcing a smile amidst the storm of thoughts swirling in his mind. Kyle stood up and stretched, breaking the charged silence that enveloped them. "How about we grab some ice cream? We can chat more about heading home," he suggested, his casual tone a welcome distraction. "Sure, sounds good," Jack said, lifting himself from the bench. He followed his brother and watched Lily skip ahead, lost in her little world of wonder and joy. As they walked to the ice cream stand, Jack looked down at his hands. Rough, calloused, reminders of the years spent running away. But what had he been running from? With every step they took, he felt the weight of the past inching closer, whispering doubts and fears in his ear. "Jack," Kyle said, breaking into his thoughts. "You okay?" "Yeah," Jack replied, but even he could hear the lie in his voice. "Listen," Kyle nudged him, "if it's too much, we can talk about it. You're not alone in this." "It's just I never really thought about coming back before," Jack admitted. "What if I'm no better? What if I end up hurting her even more?" The two brothers stopped in their tracks, Kyle facing him with earnest eyes. "You've changed, Jack. You're working on yourself. That's a huge step. Don't sell yourself short." Jack felt the warmth of Kyle's belief wash over him, but a nagging voice lingered, urging him to retreat into his shell. "But what if I'm not enough for them? What if they see me and want nothing to do with the guy who left?" Kyle shook his head firmly. "You're their son, Jack. You can't let the past dictate your future. They'll see the effort, your growth. Trust me." With that, Jack found some comfort in his brother's words. They reached the ice cream stand, and he watched Lily bounce in anticipation, her tiny hands pressed against the glass. For a fleeting moment, he felt lighter. Maybe, just maybe, he could embrace this new chapter. After they ordered and took their cones, Jack crouched to be eye level with Lily. "Hey, what flavors did you pick?" chocolate and sprinkles. And I'm going to be super careful so it doesn't tea drip. She squealed, her excitement contagious. Wow! That sounds delicious. Just like you. As she grinned up at him, Jack caught a glimpse of the future. A future where he didn't have to hide behind his mistakes, where laughter and joy were the cornerstones of his family life. Just then, Lily lowered her cone, her eyes wide with worry. "Daddy, are you and Uncle Kyle leaving again?" His heart sank. "No, sweetie, we're not leaving. I'm staying right here with you." Her face brightened immediately. "Good. You can help me catch more butterflies." As they finished their ice cream, Jack felt a resolve building. Something was shifting, and he yearned to know if it was more than just fleeting hope. After a few more moments of sharing giggles and sprinkles, they made their way toward a shaded spot where Kyle leaned against a tree, arms crossed and watching them fondly. Jack paused, his breath hitching in his throat. He didn't expect this to be easy. What lay ahead felt uncertain, but in that uncertainty was a flicker of hope that he had been missing. "Can I ask you something?" Kyle said, lifting an eyebrow. "When you think about going home, what do you feel?" Jack hesitated. "A mix of fear and excitement, I guess," he replied, glancing at Lily as she danced in the grass. "What if that's just part of the journey?" Kyle suggested, his voice soft. "Maybe," Jack breathed out, allowing himself a glimmer of optimism. As they all settled down in the shade, Jack felt a sense of clarity wash over him, as if the choices yet to be made began to crystallize. The beauty of this moment held promise, but its delicate nature also meant everything was on the line. The unsettling question lingered in his mind as they sat together, the joyful chaos of Lily filling the space around them. Could he truly embrace the unknown of returning home and find the family he had longed for? With every flutter of wings around him, Jack knew he might have to confront the hardest truths buried deep within, but just as that thought settled, a sudden rustle among the bushes caught his attention. What if those unexpected revelations surfacing led to something he never anticipated? Jack felt the air shift around him as he tried to shake off the weight of his thoughts, but a rustle in the bushes pulled his attention away from his spiraling worries. A small rabbit emerged, whiskers twitching, and Lily squealed in delight, darting toward it. The innocence of her joy lit up the moment, reminding Jack what was essential: being present and open. "Daddy! Look, it's a bunny!" Lily laughed, chasing the creature with sheer delight. Watching her, Jack felt his heart swell with a warmth he hadn't noticed in years. The simple pleasure of life was right here, right now. This was what he wanted: the laughter, the connection, the moments of pure joy. If only everything else could just fall into place. Lily knelt down, as if to communicate with the little creature, her soft voice coaxing it forward. "Come here, little bunny. I won't hurt you." Jack shared a glance with Kyle, an unspoken acknowledgement shimmering between them. The moment felt alive, electric with potential. "Maybe this is what you've been missing all along," Kyle said quietly, his eyes scanning the scene. "These moments. They matter more than anything." "Yeah," Jack agreed, his voice thick with emotion. "They really do." In that moment, the question of his return to their family grew faint. The response varied with every thought that danced in his mind. Maybe returning didn't have to mean reckoning with the past just yet. Maybe it could simply be about rebuilding. Perhaps starting here with Lily would open a door to untold possibilities. As they watched the rabbit scamper away, Jack felt the heaviness in his chest begin to ease. He turned to Kyle, determination brewing in his heart as fresh resolve surged through him. "I'm going to try," he said, his voice steady. "I'll reach out. I'll face them." Kyle's eyes widened slightly, an expression of genuine encouragement spread across his face. "That's all we need, man. Just take it one step at a time." Lily bounced back to them, her face flushed with excitement as she proclaimed triumphantly, "It ran away. But I'll be ready for next time." Jack knelt down, throwing a playful arm around her shoulders. "You and me, we'll catch all the bunnies, won't we?" She giggled, eyes sparkling with possibility, and in that instant, Jack felt renewed. They stood together under the sun, a family at the core of what was once lost. "Let us head back, Lily. We have to get started on our plan," Jack suggested, resolute. "What plan?" she asked, tilting her head with curiosity. "To send a message to Grandma and Grandpa. It's time we introduced you," he replied, feeling every ounce of that past drain away. Her eyes lit up with the thrill of adventure. "Can we go now?" "Of course." Jack grinned, pulling her into his embrace. As they walked back to their car, Jack started thinking about how he would reach out to his family, the words he'd choose, the feelings he needed to express. Maybe it wasn't merely about confessing sins of the past, but about acknowledging the love that still existed. The hope bloomed inside him like sunlight through a cracked window. Kyle slung an arm over Jack's shoulder as they walked side by side, echoing the connection they had once shared. "You've got this," Kyle reassured him. "You're ready to build something new." The weight that had clung to Jack for so long lightened. He realized the fear wouldn't leave him completely, but that didn't mean he wouldn't still move forward. As they reached the car, Lily jumped in the back seat, her laughter filling the air like sweet music. Jack took a deep breath and sank into the driver's seat, the warmth of anticipation washing over him. And then he turned to Kyle, feeling a bond unbreakable. "It's time to go home," he said, feeling resolve surge through him. "Together," Kyle replied, smiling wide. That's how Jack began his journey forward, one firm step toward reclaiming everything that truly mattered, guided by a flickering flame of hope. The past wouldn't haunt him, it would be his compass, steering him back to the family that awaited. As they drove away from the park, Jack didn't look back. He stared at the road ahead, filled with uncertainties yet bursting with potential. The butterfly of possibility fluttered ever closer, as he took the leap he had longed for, knowing the transformation had only just begun. And this time, he was ready to embrace every moment of it. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this emotional ending, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your engagement makes all the difference.